All right, so far we've gone over tokens that we've added to our HTML page that we've coordinated with the variables on our var sheet, right? So we have vars here in the var sheet, tokens here in the HTML page, and those tokens correspond to those vars in effect, right? Now, there were a couple of system defined tokens, right? Like the tokens that we put into the sheet, but unlike them. In other words, they're system defined. There are three tokens that will always be used on a project, just simply should always be used on a project anyway. Two of which are necessary. The third of which is just good for sharing link juice across the pages you're creating for a guy. And so it sounds like you're doing a lot of extra work, but you're not. You're just making sure to include one more var, okay? And if you do that in a sensible way, then it's just really cool, what you can tell a client you're doing for them. Okay, here are those vars, or not vars, sorry, tokens. There's domain, okay. What do you think that is? That is going to equal, okay, equal either something like this, domain.com, or something like this with the www dot, or in the case of a subdomain, something like that, right? Subdomain dot domain.com. So this is a subdomain, okay? And that would be part of our domain in this case. So domain token would mean from the beginning, which is http:// through until however it ends. It could be .com, it could be .net, it could be .co.uk, it could be .co.au. All the combinations work, okay, for our domain token, and that's cool. All right, that's domain, okay. So I'll just simplify it for a minute. Now, there is another token called project. The purpose of project originally was to keep us from accidentally overriding things. And as a matter of fact, we made it required you had to add a project folder, sorry. And we've had people ask, can you remove it? And we always said, no way. We don't want anyone suing us because somebody overwrote the main page of their website because we didn't tell them and they didn't know. So this is it, as well as everything else. We do make this clear and we build it into the product. What is the purpose of project? It's something that comes after this. So if we started with domain.com, say, okay, then the project would be the slash, whatever it is, special offers, who knows? It is your definition. It's your thing, which you will look up. Special offers, specials, basics, it can really be any name, okay, and all your pages are going to go into it. That's the whole point. So this could be like, there would be domain.com, just showing you how this works, okay, and then that would be Control X, okay, boom, okay, I'm just showing you how this works. Domain / project could equal domain / project, okay, and how do you figure out if that's a good idea? But what you want to do is when you have all the pages go in, then the system's going to create pages including some kind, actually, that's right. Well, yeah, it'll create into the project folders index.html, whatever kind of pages. There's going to be main pages. Okay, and the difficulty that's going to come off of that, of course, is that it's the very index.html file that we do like in folders that we would have not wanted to create on the main website. It could overwrite the very main page of the website when a guy's adding a lot of pages to a website. So this is why we invented this concept of requiring that at the top level, all your pages must go into a folder. And then if you come back to this client and do another job, you'll just create another folder, or you could put more pages into that folder, but you can't tell which pages are new, which pages are old. If you do that, if you want to see which ones are getting indexed on Google, have a new name. So this will be like 2015 specials, and next year will be 2016 specials, something like that. Rules for folder names, of course, no spaces, right? There is no way you can be having spaces like that. So put a dash or something. Okay, no periods. That wouldn't make any sense. No strange special characters, no dollar signs, no percentage signs, no pound signs, no nothing like that. Either a dash or an underscore, okay, a letter or a number. Okay, the last thing that's going to matter. Caps completely and utterly matter. If this existed and I could visit this online, if I change this to a capital letter A, very suddenly I cannot visit this link anymore. I'm going to be told it doesn't exist. That's because online, on Linux servers especially, which is where most websites are hosted, okay, online, a capital letter and a lowercase letter are nothing alike. There is different as two different numbers, the number 5 from the number 8. That's how different that is, okay? So always adopt the habit of making everything lowercase completely and utterly on purpose. I don't care if your project folder is Chicago dash plumbing dash, companies, all right? Do not have a capital C. Do not have a capital P. Do not have a capital C, because no one remembers that stuff, okay? And it's going to get lost. You're going to have broken links or something. If somebody tries to type that out or find it again, they're not going to find it. They're not going to know why, okay? And if you're trying to find it when you put the project up, you're not going to know why either. So don't make that mistake. And this should just make your skin crawl. Seeing spaces. Have you ever seen a space in a URL? That's my question. Have you ever gone online, went to search for something here in the address bar? Look at that, no spaces. Have you ever seen anything with spaces? No. Those spaces get converted, don't they, to %20, okay? And when they get converted to %20, like this, let me just show you, okay? Isn't that silly? Okay, when that happens with the %20, that is no longer the same link anymore. That's really not what we had. And so our system is not going to be able to find this thing either. Okay, so always be using either dashes or nothing, usually dashes to separate words, or underscores, right? Numbers, lowercase letters, dashes, and underscores. Okay, final project token. And by the way, again, do you remember the idea? All of our pages are going to go into this folder, whatever the folder name is that we give the thing. It can be anything, but all of our pages, the 10, 20, 50, 100, 400, 600, 1,000, whatever it is, 1,240, whatever it is going to go into that project folder. All the pages are going to go in that folder. Okay. By the way, as I was saying before, it could be a subdomain. So in the case of a subdomain, you don't exactly have the project folder name like this. It's different. Control X. Okay. It looks like this. Control V. Dot. Okay. And do you know what? That's kind of really the same thing, because on the server, this is assigned. It's like dialing a shortcut name or something. What do you call those? Just name dialers or something, where you just click on the name Dave to dial Dave. 616-834-6552. You don't have to remember the number because you get the shortcut. Well, in this case, if you put the shortcut here, then you can go straight to that part of the website. Okay, everybody uses this to some degree. You can do it with Google. You can go to, goggles.google.com and stuff like that. And it's really the same whether you do it that way or this way. And Google knows that some people search the one way, some people search the other for head things. But the reason they created that goggles, a couple of reasons. One, it's better for SEO. Okay. And two, people start to remember it. They just start to remember where things are. Okay. They kind of can always think about this concept and say, what if I went to translate? Probably that'll work. What if I go to, AdWords? Probably that'll work. What if I go to Gmail? Probably that'll work, right? That whole subdomain concept is for guys who know better what they're doing with websites. And Google pays extra special attention to subdomains. They rank stronger. So it's good to get into a point where you can do this. So instead of this, yes, if you were wondering, Control X. Okay, it's the same thing. no www dot with it. This replaces the www dot. Sometimes, in really weird cases, I'll see something like this, and I'll think, eee, that also makes my skin crawl. Too many dots. There's a dot here, and a dot here. It should never happen. And then, of course, if it was .co.uk, there'd be another dot. That's too much. You can't have a subdomain on a subdomain. Or you can, it's just ridiculous. Don't. Even Google thinks that's bizarre. It means you don't know what you're doing. So do not create that. That's weird. It's just weird. It can also throw it off. It can also mean lots of broken links, because this won't necessarily be the same as this, all right? They will not necessarily point to the same place at all. Okay. So far we understand domain and project. I'll show you how to use them pretty soon. There's one more I want to go over, though, and that's menu, okay? And this is something we built to subdefine within our project. Now, you might think, why on earth do you need any more sub-definition? I'll give you an idea. Okay. Let's say we said, plumbingcompanies.domain.com. Okay. All right. And that's what we tried to do, or even just plumbers, just to make it simpler, easier to read. Okay. Plumbers.domain.com. Then our menu at this point will be based on something. Could be keywords, could be geo-targets, whatever, right? And so the way that works, believe it or not, is going to be the extra piece. So this is going to be more. It's going to be a slash something. And it could be, let's say our what do I want to say? Let's just say this. Let's say our subdomain in this case was Illinois. Okay, that's a whole state. Inside that state, that's just the point of the menu, is subdefining. I want to have individual cities. So my syntax, when I create this thing, it's going to be like city dash, keyword.html, or not that, sorry, city dash keyword, because it's a folder, it's not a page. That might be the syntax, all right? So what it would wind up being is stuff like this. It would wind up being, Chicago or Indianapolis dash, emergency plumber, okay? So where would the menu go, do you think? And the answer is at the end of, the project link, sorry. And for that to be true, then of course, how would this thing look, on the page, so to speak? It would be like that, okay? Sure enough, that's it. This is the domain where you're going to put all the pages. This is the project, so you keep them separate from the rest of the website, so they can all be deleted at once or whatever. But more importantly, so they don't overwrite something that already existed. And then finally, menu is for subdefining within that project so you can get more exact, okay? And it's up to you how far you want to go with things like that, but there you have it. So in this case, but the other thing I have to point out is this. Remember, I said that a domain could be this, and if you're thinking about it, then that's the domain, and that's the menu, but there's no project, and that's correct, because there could be no two slashes. See, there's a slash and there's a slash, but here there's only one, and the answer is right. If you're using a subdomain, then you do not have both those parts. You just have domain/menu where the subdomain is contained inside here. And that's exactly what's going on. Domain / okay, menu item, whatever it is, okay? But if you do it the other way around, okay, and this is how a lot of beginners start anyway, is they just get the grip of it because they don't know how to create subdomains and stuff. Okay, well then just put it back. And there you have it. Domain, okay, / project, whatever that is, / menu, whatever that is. Okay. All right, so you understand now there's a domain, a project, and a menu. Okay, so the first part that must change because all three of those We just want to make sure that they are in our HTML file, okay? Unless, of course, you're using subdomains, then just remember you'll only have 2 in that HTML file because, of course, you have your, yeah, Illinois, whatever it is, Illinois-plumbers if you want, who knows, .domain.com, and then this won't be there. You won't have both of them in that sense. You won't have a subdomain and a project, okay? As a matter of fact, our software will stop you and let you know that you're trying to create that if it sees it. So it'll stop you and say, no. Okay, so now you know what's going on. There's a domain, there's a project, and you again. I'm just trying to make sure I'm clear. Okay, and then just pages inside. And in the case of this, it's exactly the same concept. There will be, in the end, pages inside here. Pages.html, some page, right? And then some other page, some other page, some other page. There will be a bunch of pages in one menu item. There will be a bunch more in another menu item. Just the way you might organize that run, okay? So there you go. Those are the 3 system tokens that exist, right? Which are not user defined. They're ones that exist in the system. Memorize them because we're going to use them. The first one I'm going to do right now, and this is the easiest one to see how to do, is like this. Edit the base. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to find their domain names. Matter of fact, I'll just do a search for like .com or .net, whatever it was. Can't find .net. Was it .co.uk? Oh, no, that's right. It was .com. Okay, could have been .org or .biz. Just to remember. There it is. So this is their website, isn't it? Just to make sure. Yeah, that's their website. I can tell that's their website. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take this whole thing right now, copy it, and I am going to make it, Control H. I'm going to make it the domain token right now. I can tell that there's no subdomain there, but it wouldn't matter because I'm going to put the pages where I'm going to put the pages, right? All these pages are going to go where I say. That's the idea. So, domain. And there you go. If I had a trailing slash up here, by golly, I need a trailing slash down here. But it's just better to take them off because some cases you may not have a trailing slash. You might have a double quotes, at the end of the link or something. So it just depends on what's going on. Like this could have ended that way and then something else could happen. If that's true, then, that slash will not be there. There won't be a slash, all right, after the M. All right, so it's just good to be exact here to here. Now, word of warning. When I do this, which I'm going to do right now, replace all, got it, okay? When I do it, keep one thing in mind. This page is going to look bad now when I open it. Why? Well, because it doesn't know where any of the images are anymore, and it doesn't know where the CSS files are anymore, or anything else, right? And so I have to remember where that website came from. And if I don't remember where that website came from, that's one reason I may have had my archive, right? Edit. Matter of fact, let me just go find it again. Okay. That way I can create it. Okay. Just real quick. That was it. HarrySmithPHC.com. Control C. Remember to be careful how you do it. Control H. Right? Find domain. And replace it with, boom, nope, not the slash, and no, not the www dot, because I want to keep uniformity, and no one needs a www dot almost ever, replace all. And you won't, unless you're advanced, and you come across a problem with the www dot shows up and the non-www dot does not. Just keep things uniform in the right kind of way. So guess what I did? I replaced it back, all right? And that way, all throughout the page, first of all, the page should look good now, right? Okay. All right. Obviously, the reason that I would bother to change it and break the page is because first I know the page looks good in every other case. I'm going to put a copy up here in the archive. Paste. Okay. but then also because on our MOWG Pro, we're going to import this thing and we're going to define what the domain is going to be inside the interface, and it needs to be able to match that to the file. It needs to see where that applies on the file. Because not every URL belongs to its own website. There could be links leaving the website going to other websites, any other websites, Facebook. So MOWG Pro cannot just assume that every link is supposed to belong to the website, right? That's why we have to specifically define it. By the way, you can meet the criteria by simple, like look at these. See these? See these? I didn't even deal with these before. Okay. Matter of fact, I got to keep that in mind now when I change it. Just if I want to be clear. Last point. To satisfy the criteria, like with any other vars, I could just change one to domain. And if I change just one to domain, then I've satisfied the criteria, right? Then the MOWG Pro knows where it's supposed to fit the domain name in. Okay. So another thing you can do for uniformity, and be careful when you do this, make a backup first, just in case somebody's got a really strange setup. Because rare but true, this happens that www dot does not point to the same place as the non-www dot. If I create uniformity, I might take the www dot out of all of them or add it to all of them, right? So every case that had it no longer has it, or every case that did not have it will now have it. It just depends on whether I subtracted or added, but now it's all uniform. Okay, so I might just check it and make sure that that thing looks good before I save a backup. But then that's cool because my backup, right, will be really, well, just uniform. Everything about it will look good. You know what? That's good. Everything's good. I'm sure I can read more. There we go, etc. Yeah, it's all fine. Great. So that'll be my new backup. I like that one better. See, that's the point. Okay, boom. That's a better backup. All right, now finally, edit. I can change one or more of these things to the domain token. Reality check is we make it possible to put this thing up literally on these projects on as many websites as you want, really, when you know more about MOWG, deeper level stuff. Okay, but if you just want to keep it simple and not deal with the print changing on you and everything, and you just want to know you can still see it, just take one little link. How do you recognize a link? It starts with href equals double quote. When you see that ahref, everyone says ahref, right? That's what we say, ahref. And when you see ahref equals, then that means that if you change this thing to a domain token, it may not be clickable right away, but at least it won't change the way the page looks. So I'm just going to change that one to the domain token. And I'm going to make sure it maintains its slash at the end. See, there is a slash after that. And don't forget, the domain token, the way we do it, is the whole thing starting with HTTP and ending with your .com or .org or .net or .co.uk or whatever it is. Okay? The whole thing is contained inside here. And if there was a subdomain, like subs, it would still be inside there. It would still look like this if it was supposed to link into that same section as this. Okay. All right. So far, so good. I'm going to save that. Boom. Now, I don't want to make it a backup unless I mark it or rename it or something so it's clear. Now, again, since I only changed one, okay, it looks the same. The difficulty I'm going to have, though, is what happens when I want to put a bunch of pages in a project folder. Well, I just got to help you understand how to think about that, because we're going to want to be able to use the project token too as part of our sitemap linkage. That's going to be what we're going to talk about next, is getting these pages to work together, right? And so somewhere, whether it's down here or something, like we can take this thing out, put something else in, or we can just add to it. Whatever we think, right? But we're going to put in some kind of a sitemap linkage, and when we do, we're going to need our project token. Okay. All right, that'll be the next topic.